And I'm so glad to welcome you today to our conversation of women in midlife and part of our Summer of Self-Love series. This is the second of our third of our series, and I am just so grateful to all of the women who have stepped forward and are sharing their voices, sharing their experiences and their journeys of self-love. And today we are joined by Therese Holden, who writes the Self-Led by Design Substack. So Therese, welcome.
Hi.
So tell us about you, what brought you to this series and to Substack?
Yeah, so I had to say yes to your invite to come in because self-love has been a huge issue for me. So I absolutely loved the idea and concept you had for the series, and think it's been absolutely incredible so far. What brought me to Substack was really to a place to share my thoughts, having tried to do that on socials as sharing my experiences. I think Substack's a much, much better platform to do that. And it's a great way to collaborate and communicate with other like-minded women with similar experiences and different experiences, and just enjoying exploring that as I have the seed to my business gently being caressed, I suppose.
I love that. And welcome to Joe and Lorelai and Julie and Georgia and Jackie and Sean and Tommy. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited you're all here. So Therese, this is a question that I sort of asked you in the interview, but I want to know if you overheard yourself 20 years ago talking to a friend, the way that your inner critic talked to you back then. And I know for you, it was even more recent than like your early teens and 20s.
Yeah.
So if you had overheard somebody talking to you that way, the way your inner critic talked to you, what would you have thought?
I think if someone had overheard me talking to anybody like that, they would have thought I was a bully. It's my inner critic has been around a very long time. And over the years, from it sort of like it got a lot worse after my teenage years. I wasn't so bad in my teenage years, but as I got older, because I didn't take a similar path to everybody else, I had my son at 19. I didn't have a degree until I was 36. I joined corporate as a mature graduate with a bunch of fresh out of university people. So I always felt like I was a step behind, and that critic just got louder and louder and louder as I went through that path, going, you don't belong here, you're not good enough. And that voice encompassed so many different areas of my life, not just my work, but personal, what I was like, what I looked like, how I felt. And I think if anybody had heard that, or if anybody had spoken to a friend like that, then I would have just been classified as an absolute bully and not a great friend at all.
So tell us about how you learned to talk to yourself that way. Like, was it the women that you were around that talked to themselves the same way that when you were growing up? Were there other people that, because if you look at a 6-year-old kid, they don't talk to themselves that way. Oh. So somewhere something happened, something was said. It's not one thing. It's like stacks of things. I like to think of it as like those, what do you call it? The rubber band balls. Like you put a couple of rubber bands together, and then you keep building it, and this is giant mess of stuff. So, and apologies if you can hear the people next door. They're mowing the lawns. So, tell us about where you learned to just start to talk to yourself that way. Was there a situation or family member, or was there a whole rubber band ball that happened?
I love your band ball analogy, because that's so true. I think it's not just one thing. I think my mum had quite low self-esteem. And I don't think I ever realized that growing up. I just thought that that was normal. But I'm the younger sister of two sisters, and I grew up with a comparison to my older sister. So there was always that narrative there of she does this better. I think one of the standout stories, I came from a very tiny primary school. There was only 8 children in my class at primary school. That's the real juniors for over here in the UK. When I went to the secondary school, I was the only child from my class to go into a year of 200 students, which was frightening at 11 years old. And I remember going home crying because nobody would talk to me. And my mum just said, "Oh, you don't make friends like your sister does." And that was meant out of love, as don't worry about it, you'll make friends. But that was one thing that just absolutely has made me feel like I don't belong. And I think I just really absorbed that. And that's been a narrative for a very long time. So it's little things like that, you know, it's teachers' comments on my work, it's comparisons to my sister. My sister was far more outgoing than I was. She was clever at loads of things. Academics came really easily to her. So, but I struggled through all of that. And I think it's just, as you don't realize as a parent myself, you don't realize how that wording can actually land, even when it's got massively good intent behind it. And, you know, my parents were very supportive and trying to make me feel better about the situation. But actually what I absorbed was something very different. And then life experiences happen. And it compounds. And I don't think you realize that that compounds. So it ends up this layer upon layer upon layer and layer that, for me, I think I got to a point where I thought I'd lost everything that I felt was me, but it wasn't. And I think I described it once in a talk that I did. You know, when you lose something down the back of the sofa and you have to root around in the back of the sofa and actually find it, and you've not actually lost it, but like my confidence and my self-confidence and my self-belief, it was there. It was just layered over with all of this rubbish that I just picked up from everywhere. So yeah, but I love your rubber band.
Yeah, and that's something that came to me when I was trying to describe to somebody else like what I had felt about myself, and she was like, why don't you trust yourself? And I was like, I don't know, I just feel like there's just like something. And it was just the rubber band ball came to mind, because I was like, it was just like I put a rubber band on and they all had spikes on them. So I know that there are so many women who can identify with your story, because we all have our own unique experiences, but there's so many threads that tie us together. And so many of our experiences like did similar things happened to us. And for me, I've said this in the articles, like it was just a sweet, you know, comment from my grandmother, who I have scoliosis, and she just wanted me to, you know, not slouch and stand up straight. And then it came, you know, Erica, hold in your stomach, you don't want to look fat. And it was like, I think a lot of times it was meant to be out of love, but it did not feel like love.
It doesn't land that way. We don't receive it in a way. And I think you, even when it's meant out of love, I think a lot of times, and I think now I carry a lot of gratitude for everything my parents did to support, and a lot of forgiveness as well, because they were only trying to do the best with what they knew at the time. And I think reflecting back, I can see now that my mum was probably one of those people, was definitely one of those women who had low self-esteem. She was always on a diet, or she was always doing something with her body, and she never really sort of like accepted herself or believed in herself as much. And as supportive as they were, I think because she never realized that herself, it's almost like it's unconscious. It's not meant to hurt. It's just they didn't realize at the time, and same as teachers and other people in my life, you know. It's I don't think ever it's anything that I've picked up has ever been out of malice. It's always been out of somebody else's own beliefs.
So my next question for you is, was there someone who saw you differently than you saw yourself before you believed it yourself? Like, what did they see in you and what flipped it for you?
Yeah. My husband, when I met my husband, I'd come out of a really bad relationship with my son's dad. And now I understand, because I know his human design now. He's a projector. So he saw right into me. He saw behind all the masks and everything else. And I saw, like, as soon as I found that out, I was like, oh, that's why he saw everything. I'm not quite sure what he saw in me, but he saw something that I didn't see for a long time. And he, right from the start, he always tried to make me feel better about myself. But I didn't believe him. And I think he's found that quite painful to watch me almost internally destroy myself sometimes and be so critical. But I think I had to get there on my own. But certainly with his support and with his help and him trying to make me see what he could see, I think is how I've got there. So now, as soon as I started to go, do you know what? I think I might actually be enough. He's like, yes, finally she gets it. Finally she's seeing what I'm seeing in her. So I think he definitely believed in my potential and believed in me way before I did. Yeah.
Did you have the experience where he could see something in you and that inner critic was still like, yeah, but he's supposed to love you, like he's supposed to, that was my experience.
That's
with
what he's supposed to say.
Yeah,
he's just being nice. He's supposed to say that, you know. He's my husband. He's supposed to say nice things about me. He doesn't know what I'm really like at work, you know.
Yeah,
he doesn't see you all day. You were rubbish in that meeting. You should have known better, all of these things, you know. And I'd come home from work and I'd be really upset about something and playing some conversation that had happened during the day back and sort of like being really stressed out about it. And he'd go, but you know your stuff. I'm sort of like, yeah, what do you know? You're not at my work.
Yeah. So, yeah. I've had that experience too. So tell us, as on your journey, how have you started to see yourself differently since this really sticky inner critic time?
Yeah, so I think for me, it started, weirdly enough, it started how I started seeing myself differently on a development course with work. So I was fortunate enough to be put on a development course that had coaching. But we had the first week was a week retreat. And one of the exercises was we had to draw a picture of something that was holding us back. And I don't know why, but I drew this really hairy little gremlin. What I didn't realize when I drew it was I had to explain it to everybody. And I did. And I said, this is my inner critic. This is the voice that tells me that I'm not good enough. And I think that was the first time that I'd openly shared. And the response I got back wasn't after, even though my inner critic was jumping up and down going, what are you doing? You're gonna lose your job. Everybody's gonna think you're deranged. And one of the mentors who I actually worked with for a long time, he turned around to me afterwards and said, that was a really vulnerable share. He said, whenever I've worked with you, he said, I've just seen this really confident, really capable person. He said, I had no idea that that was going on in the background. And I think that conversation, I started to get me thinking about actually what other people say, and oh, maybe my husband had a point. And I took that into coaching with the most amazing coach that I've met. And that was when I started to really understand that actually this voice was probably not telling me the truth, and it probably never had been. And that actually I was looking at myself through, I mean, I've worn glasses since a child, but it's like having the wrong prescription. You know, you can't see anything if you're wearing, you can't see properly when you're wearing the wrong prescription glasses. And it was almost like I'd picked up this wrong pair of glasses for so many years. And it was like in coaching, she just handed me this pair of glasses that started to go, oh, actually, that's not that. And I've been on that journey ever since. And I think I just got to a point on that journey where I was reading loads of self-help books, I was listening to loads of podcasts, I was doing different courses, and I came across a few different sort of like quotes that really struck home. And one of them was, what you're not changing, you're choosing, which made me really angry to start with, because I was like, what do you mean I'm not choosing to be like this? And then it's like wormed its way in. I'm so like, hang on, yeah, maybe this is just a choice. Maybe it starts with me making a decision to see myself differently. So with the coaching, I'm unearthing those beliefs and trying to start with that. And it's just been unpicking those layers and peeling back those layers and peeling off those masks that you wear to go, actually, I am good enough, and I am good at my job. And actually, I do look good for my age, and actually I feel good. And now I want to do good things for me, not because somebody else says I should do them. I want to do them for me. And that, I think, is just been empowering and liberating, I think, in equal measure.
Wow. It was a coach for me too that saw me differently and helped me see that, like, I have a light in me that I didn't know I had. And it's amazing to me how one or two people can be a turning point for us, and for us to start to see ourselves differently. And for somebody to just even hold up a mirror to you and be like, this is what you can't see. And I love that. You're not the first person I've heard say, like, I got a new pair of glasses, or I finally could see through clear glasses. And a client of mine said that to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I had never thought of it that way. But it's it makes so much sense. Like those days that not being able to see clearly and not being able to see ourselves clearly is so, I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So as you've done this work, has anyone close to you noticed you differently as you've done this work? Like, did they say something to you? Or is just how you relate to them and how they treated you? Was there something, I mean, you said your boss before was like, had always seen the confident side of you, but for me, it's been people asked if I got my hair cut. I'm like, no.
Something different about you. Can't put my
There's
finger on
something
it.
different about you. So, like, did anyone say that to you? And like, tell us about that.
They haven't. So I was thinking about this, and my husband sees me differently because he sees the personal stuff, and you know, he's seen me grow, and he's seen that blossoming in me, and he sees how I show up differently. I think in work, I think I was wearing so many masks of this confident self, this capable person, that it didn't necessarily come across in the same way. I think it has done, and it's sunk in that, hang on a minute, she's a little bit different. But I don't think anybody's really put the two and two together until I've started talking openly about it. And then they've gone, oh, now I get it. So I haven't had those sorts of comments, but I think a lot of that was because I spent so long hiding it from everybody and frightened to show that to people. But I mean, I still work in corporate, and I want the people that I lead to be able to be vulnerable, to come to me as their leader, to say when they're not feeling great, or to say when they're lacking with confidence. So I feel like now I've had all my revelations, and the revelations keep coming. They don't stop, because we're just unpicking different layers at different angles. I think it's incredibly important to be sharing now with people and being open about those struggles, because I think we have to create psychologically safe spaces where we work that enable people to not have to wear those masks, and to feel good enough about themselves, and to go, do you know what? It's okay to have a wobble. And having that wobble doesn't inherently mean there is something wrong with you. It just means you're probably pushing a boundary, or you're doing something new, or you're lacking some clarity in something. So what do we do to support you in that? And it becomes a different conversation for me at work in that respect. And I think that's where people have seen the change, is because actually I'm being more open about the struggle, and I'm being more open with people at work about actually when I'm not in a great space to do stuff. And I think there's a lot of talk in corporate about authentic leadership, but it doesn't necessarily come across as actually supportive. It's another prescription of, you must do this, 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 and this, and it doesn't fit everybody. It's not real. For me, being open about my struggles does enable other people. It opens the door and reduces those barriers to people talking about this, which is part of why I wanted to come on this series as well.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes. Because I think that when we share our stories, people start to see themselves in our stories. And that's why I wanted to do this. This series, because I knew that I had struggled with it. And I was like, well, I can tell my story, but it's going to be so much more powerful with other women. And I thought I would get 5. I did not expect to get 11. So what is something that you do daily that is really you practicing self-love that doesn't necessarily look like self-love on the outside? And I want to be clear that, like, a lot of times we say self-care is self-loving, and it can be, but a day at the spa is like self-care. That's not necessarily, like, it's something we do because we love ourselves, but like, what is something you do every day that is, because you can't go to the spa every day.
I love this question. Yeah, self-love needs to be a daily practice. I have my morning routines. I do my journaling, I do my exercise and that, but I think it goes beyond that, because I think it's showing up for myself in a different way. And self-love for me, this is a really, really funny one. And I used to buy really cheap body spray and perfume, and I would save my best perfume for if I went out. I wear my best perfume every day. And it's tiny. It's a tiny little change. And it's sort of like, do you know what? I am so worthy of wearing my best perfume every damn day. Not the cheap stuff. And it can be the smallest of things that goes, do you know what? The scent of that perfume makes me feel great, and it makes me feel loved, and it reminds me of how special I am. So why just save it for a dinner date or a special party or a special occasion? Because I'm worth that every day. So there's the big routines, but there's also this tiny little daft thing of going, do you know what? That's my best perfume.
And then it's not sitting on your dresser for 20 years. And then it's
I know it's gone off.
The scent is off. Like then then you have to buy more. And then you're like, ooh, this is so good. I get to buy more.
Or I get my husband to buy me more.
Your husband to buy you more. Yes.
Presents. It's an ongoing present now. Birthdays, Christmases, anniversaries. He knows it's a bottle of perfume, and I suppose it has a double meaning then, because it also reminds me that it's my husband's gift to me, and that he loves me, and if he loves me, I'm also worthy, and I'm worthy of that love as well. And it's sort of like this whole cycle of almost like that scent just reminding me that I am loved, and putting it on means that I love myself as well. I hadn't thought of it like that until just give me a little light bulb.
Okay. I think that's one of our clips. Oh my gosh. So as we talked before we got on the live, I have been identifying as part of the summer the parts of ourselves in our human design that are related to self-love, and how we, our relationships with ourselves, and just how we can be more powerfully understanding of ourselves. And I want to be clear with this. Like, this is not part of the traditional human design teachings. This is my own interpretation. And for those who are like very strict on the human design teachings, this is my interpretation. But I looked at your chart, and there were a couple of things that come up for me that I am very curious about. So you have 5 of the self-love that I have identified of the self-love gates. And I just want to talk through them with you. And I'm going to give you what the inner critic is, and I would love for you to tell us more about it. So there's one that is it's in the identity center, and it's the inner critic comes up and says, who do I think I am? I'm not creative enough. No one wants to hear what I have to say. Someone else can do it better, and my gifts aren't valuable. Tell us about that one.
That really resonates. That is something, funnily enough, that's probably the thing that is coming up most often as I'm going on Substack and sharing on Substack, because it's a new environment for me. And I wrote an article about three beliefs that might be holding me back on Substack a few weeks ago, and it was really around this inner critic going, you've got nothing valuable to say. Why would anybody listen to you? You're not creative. Writing's a creative activity. You're not creative. And I think it's sort of like, and I've started to go, well, creativity can mean so many different things. Creative on whose level of creativity? Ideas come in different forms. We share in different ways. We share stories in different ways. There's so many traditions out there and so many different meanings to creativity. But yeah, that one definitely hits home, because it's that's the critic album track list that she's got. So like, who wants to listen to you? So yeah, and definitely there, definitely.
And then the next one is I don't know what I'm doing. Someone else probably knows better. I'm afraid I'll make the wrong decision. I need another opinion. I can't trust myself. How does that one resonate? Because this is also in the identity center.
Yeah. That one resonates as well. I think this was the struggle at work. This was the struggle going into corporate, being surrounded by people, and me being in a place where I was like, but I haven't come the traditional route. I'm already in my mid-30s. I should have done this by now. And the voice goes, well, you haven't, because other people are better than you. Somebody else knows more than you. And I used to find myself canvassing opinions. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And checking things multiple times at work. Nobody ever saw anything wrong with it, but I just didn't have that filter that said, oh, they're just being nice. They're just being polite. So yeah, this one's definitely come up, but primarily in the workspace.
Yeah, and you have that defined identity center. Yeah. So like, what is you.
Yeah, my whole core 4 is in my identity center.
Yeah. I see that. Yes. And I know that this the one that we just talked about so well, because I also have that in my defined identity center. So then the next one is in the undefined mind center. And it's when the inner critic is speaking, she's saying, or it is saying, I should know the answer. I'm doing this wrong. I have to be right. I can't change my mind right now. I'm getting life wrong. How does that resonate?
Well, considering I've just said that I've never been on the right path and I haven't done things the right way, that's definitely been the thread. So like mum at 19, people don't do that. Degree in my mid-30s, people don't do that. That's not the way you do things. It's like, and I think that is, it definitely resonates. I think I'm seeing that actually these days, knowing about my human design now, that actually with the fact that that's the way I'm designed to work. I'm not supposed to take the linear path. I can trust myself, not all of those questions are mine to answer. I don't need everybody's opinions to answer stuff. I just need to trust myself and tap into what I already know. So yeah.
Oh, oof. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we have two more. The other one is also in the defined identity center. And this is really about like, I need to protect myself. I can't trust people. If I let people in, they'll hurt me. It's safer if I have my guard up, because if I open my heart, I'll get hurt. How does that one resonate?
Vulnerability. Yeah. It's a shame. I'd really like my husband to answer this one, because he could probably go, yes. Yeah, this one comes up a lot, and I think this also relates to sort of like my feelings of not belonging, because it's not safe to open up. I have struggled with that. I've struggled with it in friendships right from school age. I've struggled with it in relationships too, and I think the early years of me and my husband being together were very much sort of like, he's going to hurt me. At some point, you're going to let me down. And he has been the sweetest and most patient person to sort of like show that, actually, because he could see what was happening before I could see what was happening. He was so sweet and so patient. But yeah, this one's definitely come up. I think I've learned over time that actually it's okay to have a really small, trusted circle of friends, and being vulnerable doesn't mean exposing everything, but choosing and being selective with what I share in the right spaces and the safe spaces. And there are spaces that I can do that in, and calming down that fear of rejection and fear of being hurt. And I think so many women have this struggle with putting up the barriers, because I think we've all been in situations where we've been hurt before, and it's painful. But learning to trust, I think, starts with trusting yourself. And if I can rely on myself, then that's good enough. I can rely on myself to know what to share, when to share, and who with. And that for me, I think, has become more important, is actually trusting my own intuition and my own feelings about people, and knowing that I know well enough and I'm intuitive enough not to be not to fear being hurt. I would say.
Yes. And then your next one is in the intuition center, the splenic center. And this is actually one of the fears in the human design chart. And it's that the inner critic is saying, and I feel like this is just repeating what you've already said of, I don't know enough, I'm not qualified enough, someone else can do it better, and I'm not ready, is one that I think that tends to come up. So, and then another sentence that this inner critic can say is, they're going to realize that I don't know what I'm doing. How does that one?
Imposter syndrome hit me at big time at work. I used to be in retail. I actually moved over to a technology team. know nothing about tech. Moved over as a service manager because of my knowledge of how the business functioned, and I would constantly be apologizing for going, I'm not tech. I'm sorry, I'm not a techie. Can I just ask this question? And it was really driven by this whole imposter of who they're going to find out you don't belong here. They're going to find out you're not good enough. You don't know anything. And again, it goes back to that rubbish pair of glasses that I was wearing, not seeing that actually the strengths and the gifts that actually got me the job and the reason that I was employed in the job that I was in. And when I was able to see that, I was like, oh, right, yeah, no, nobody's fired me for being rubbish yet. Nobody's fired me for not knowing how to code or how to restart a server or build an application. Nobody's stacked me for that stuff yet. Why not? Because that wasn't my job. I didn't need to know that stuff. So yeah, imposter syndrome, definitely a big tick on the list of experiences.
So, well, thank you for going on that with that journey with us. That because I've been working through these, and I'm just like, are these resonating with people? And as I'm interviewing people, it just came to me before I interviewed Erica last week that I was like, I need to ask how these resonate, because that is helping me create what I'm creating for the end of August. So, excuse me. You said that learning your human design has been really helpful for you. Do you use it with your clients, or have you just been exploring it with yourself?
I currently coach in my internal coaching network in the company that I work for, and I am currently using it with a couple of clients there. And they have been blown away. It's become sort of like they'll come into a session now and go, this is what I'm facing with. Where's this in my design? How is this showing up? What can I use? Which is fantastic. So I think mainly I've used it for myself, but I am starting to introduce it for those people who are really curious about it. And I'm starting to see that when I'm sort of like, talking about a problem, or they're talking about something that's done. I have one lady I'm working with, and she's a manifester. And she was sort of like, I keep asking for permission to do this. And my boss isn't giving it me. And I was sort of like, that's not how you're designed. Just tell him. Inform and go. And she's sort of like, can I really do that? I'm so like, yeah. And she did. The whole relationship has changed. She now goes into her sessions with her boss going, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. And he's sort of like, yeah, right, fine, no problem.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For
And
manifestors, I think for manifestors, it's like such a game changer. And it's so funny because the manifestors the people that I now know are manifestors, when I worked with them, they were like, I'm a ask for forgiveness kind of person. I don't ask for permission. And that drove me crazy. And then I learned that they were manifestors, and I was like, you just tell me what you're going to do. You do you. Yeah. Then you do it. Yeah. And sometimes you tell me after the fact, but just knowing it. Yeah. That's so key. And I think for manifestors, it's such I don't like to say it's a permission, but it is permission for them to just be like, go with that urge. Yeah. That is coming up for you. Yeah. Stop doubting it and go with it. And honestly, it's been so amazing to see her come in session after session saying, I've done this and I've done this and I've done this. And it's like, right. This is you just embracing that. And I think that's what I found so incredible about human design is again, it's another mirror, isn't it? It's sort of like, go, this is who you actually are. And here's your big, massive permission slip. Yeah. Oh, to go for that. I feel like that's where I'm always like this. It gives you permission to be who you really are. And I don't even Julie Ciardi that we both work with doesn't say like who you are. She says who you be. But I'm also like, it allows us to be our human beings.
Yeah, definitely.
So tell us what you're working on right now, and if you have anything exciting you want to share.
Yeah, so I am currently working on my first offer, which is a very seed of an idea at the moment. I'm writing a lot about limiting beliefs in the old operating system. And a lot of it is around these beliefs that we have sitting underneath everything. I think in my experience, I found beliefs that I hold have been more like a Jenga block. And we are conditioned by so many things, especially in the corporate world. I see it so much with the women that I'm working with in my coaching, internally in my coaching network. They're all coming with the same thing. They're all coming with procrastination or perfectionism or confidence issues and stuff. And they're going, show me how to manage my time better so that I can fix the procrastination. And it's sort of like, or show me how to speak up more so I can be more confident. And I'm going, here are all the little, if you think of a Jenga tower, all of these are symptoms, and you can remove the symptoms at the top and the tower still stays. You might be able to push one from the middle and it might wobble a little bit, but it stays. You've got to get down into the core ones underneath. And those are usually, this is why I absolutely love what you've done with the human design, your interpretation of the self-love gates, because invariably it is, I'm not good enough. I don't belong. I'm not lovable. Or I've forgotten the other one now. It's gone. Thank you, perimenopausal brain. But it's tackling those ones rather than the I'm procrastinating and I need to get over procrastinating. I lack confidence, because when you get rid of those things, all of those symptoms go away. That's what's brewing. It's nowhere near ready yet, but that's what's brewing.
Oh, I love it. And like I wrote the shame article, and like this, when we say I'm a procrastinator, like as opposed to I tend to procrastinate, I think
it's an identity.
We take on those identities so much, and like they become our Jenga tower too.
Yeah. And it's so entwined. These beliefs are identities. It's so entwined together because our beliefs tend to support the identity that we believe we are, but we're not procrastinators.
Yeah.
There is something that is there that is causing your nervous system to go, I'm not really sure about this yet. Or your inner critic going, do you really want to do that? Do you really want to write that article? Do you really want to record that podcast? And it's sort of like, and it's those things. And I think if we can deal with those, and we can deal with that self-image and that whole getting used to pushing that comfort zone. These things always come up for me when I'm pushing my comfort zone. And I think we tell ourselves so often that we are wrong for feeling like that. Something must be wrong because I'm feeling like this. When in reality, what we're actually probably doing is, I've got a goal and I'm going for it. And it's going to bring these things up, and we need to normalize that. And I see that in so many different places, whether it's somebody going for a promotion, whether it's somebody wanting a new relationship, whether it's somebody starting their own business, we're going to come up against these. I call it growing pains. I used to suffer from dreadful growing pains in my legs when I was a kid. And it's like, I'm growing, and this is that uncomfortable bit. And once I get used to it, then I'll be fine till I meet my next edge. And it's almost like building that capacity and building that self-image that meets that edge.
Yeah. I just had this flash of like, I remember watching Alyssa Liu, who the figure skater, and she said, as I grew, I had to find my center of gravity again. And I'm like, I have a 12-year-old now, and like she's growing 2 inches every 3 months. And like, you can tell that her body is changing, and we all, and our center of gravity changes all the time. Yeah. So Therese, thank you so much for this. I have one last question for you, but I want to say, like, I don't get to talk to you after the live is over. So I want to just say thank you so much. And I really appreciate you being part of this project. And for those of you who are paid subscribers, we're going to be talking more about the self-love gates in our workshop, and how to use human design to love yourself and start to really find pieces of you that are amazing gifts that we can't see. And so that workshop is in 2 weeks on July 29th, 30th. I can't remember. It's a Thursday. It is the 30th at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And we're going to be talking about that. And I'm so excited about these workshops that are coming up. And I have something special that is coming at the end of August that I'm bursting about wanting to tell everybody about, but I'm making myself keep it quiet. So Therese, thank you for your time today. Thank you for participating in the project. And I have one last question for you. What is one unwritten rule of midlife that you would like to rewrite?
The rule that I would like to rewrite is that midlife has to be a struggle, because I'm not here for that. We've all had struggles. We've had so many struggles. Why do we need to struggle through it? I think that's the rule that I am trying to rewrite for myself, is it gets to be done my way and I get to thrive in midlife.
I love that one. Oh my gosh. I love that. Yes.
And can I just say thank you so much. This is an amazing series. I am loving listening to and hearing all the women's stories. So thank you so much for bringing such an amazing group of ladies together on this series.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's been my honor and my pleasure, and it's grown into something I had no idea. So thank you.
Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. So to those of you who are still around, thank you for joining us. Thank you to all of those who are watching us on replay. Since this is in 2 pieces, it's going to go up a little bit later. And there's a World Cup game coming in the next hour or so, and we're going to go watch it. So thank you. So I will have this up soon, as soon as it's all processed and ready, and we're back from our World Cup watch party. So thanks to Therese. Oh, it was so great to talk to you.
Thank you.
Have a good one,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.